HW is a 44-year-old man presenting to the emergency room agitated, confused, and screaming about a massive headache. Paramedics wheel him through the doors and tell the admitting nurse that they just watched him have a violent seizure. When HW finally regains consciousness, he looks around. Terrified, he has no idea where he is. He doesn't even know his own name. But the medical team is about to find out that the cause of HW's crumbling mind started the night before. With a broken heart, a bottle of alcohol, and 3 scoops of supplement designed for a 1,000-pound farm animal. The previous night, HW was drinking with a guy named Mike. HW and Mike had only known each other for a week. See, HW had been dating a woman named Katie for 2 years, and Mike had also been dating a woman named Katie for 2 years. And just this week, both men discovered they were dating the same Katie. Devastated, the two men went to no contact with her, became fast friends, and decided to drink the pain away. But HW had already been miserable for months. His body had been falling apart. He was exhausted all the time. His hair was falling out and had terrible insomnia. But his doctors just told him to get therapy. His stomach burned constantly, making him nauseous, and weird spots had started appearing on his skin. Frustrated by doctors, HW had turned to the internet for the farm and supply store. He'd seen people online swearing by horse electrolytes. Logic in his inebriated brain was flawless. Horses are strong, electrolytes hydrate you, alcohol dehydrates you. So if he drank horse electrolytes while drinking alcohol, he'd bypass the hangover and wake up with the strength of a stallion. Barely able to stand, HW dumped an unknown number of heavy horse salt scoops into a cup. He chugged it in. It was a gritty, terrible sludge. It burned on the way down. His stomach immediately felt like it was on fire. Hours later, HW woke up on Mike's couch in a world of hurt. He stumbled toward the bathroom, and that's when his brain short-circuited, sending him crashing to the floor in a seizure. Panic-stricken, Mike called 911. Which brings us back to the emergency room. Drinking a massive amount of supplement designed for a horse is going to cause severe immediate problems. Animal supplements aren't strictly regulated like human vitamins, and a horse is massive. If you assume HW took 3 scoops, we can look at the ingredients: copper, zinc, iron, potassium, and calcium. While these metals and minerals can be toxic in high doses, the amounts in 3 scoops either aren't enough to hurt a human, or they can be efficiently flushed out by healthy kidneys. HW kidneys were fine, but there were 2 glaring, terrifying problems in that tube. The first was manganese. In 3 scoops, HW ingested 1,500% of the normal human daily intake. High manganese can cross into the brain and cause seizures, but amazingly, that wasn't the most dangerous thing that he swallowed. Over 60% of his powder was raw salt sodium bicarbonate. HW functionally swallowed a third of a cup of pure salt, that is, part of the lethal dose. A blood test predictably reveals that HW has hypernatremia, hyper meaning high, nature referring to sodium, and emia meaning presence in blood. It means high sodium presence in blood. Why is this so deadly? Because in the human body, wherever sodium goes, water flows. Here's this: if I dissolve horse electrolyte in this water, place it into a tube, and submerge it into distilled water, you'll see the water actively flow onto the tube. It rushes toward the salt. In HW's body, his super salty blood is violently sucking water out of his organs. For his muscles, this is bad. For his brain, it is catastrophic. Locked inside his rigid skull, HW's brain is literally shrinking. As it deforms, delicate blood vessels stretch and tear, causing microscopic brain bleeds. That's why he had a seizure, and that's why he couldn't remember his name. The obvious solution is to give him the IV fluids to dilute his salty blood, but the doctors are caught in a terrifying trap. They don't know exactly when he drank the sludge. When the brain shrinks, it tries to survive by pumping other chemicals inside itself to hold on to water. If doctors dilute his blood too quickly, water will rush back onto his brain too fast. This causes osmotic demyelination syndrome, stripping the protective fatty sheath off his nerves. If they do nothing, he suffers permanent brain damage. If they fix it too fast, he becomes permanently paralyzed. It's few days later, the medical team expertly walked the tightrope. They corrected HW's serum sodium perfectly, but there is a massive problem. HW sits in his bed, staring blankly into the void. When doctors ask him to close his eyes instead, he immediately falls over. He has no reflexes in his legs. His speech is total gibberish. They give him osmotic demyelination. They rush him into an MRA. The brain scans are clear. There's no demyelination. The hypernatremia is gone, but HW is still riding away in front of them. It suddenly dawns on the medical team the horse electrolytes were a red herring. Something else was destroying HW's brain before he even took that first sip. HW had complained of horrible stomach pain for months, and even now he refused to eat because swallowing was agonizing, thinking the raw salt burned a hole in his stomach. Doctors send a camera down his throat. They find massive bleeding ulcers, but they don't look like chemical burns. They test for H. pylori, the bacteria that causes normal ulcers. It comes back negative. Running out of time, doctors perform a lumbar puncture. Draining fluid from his spine, they find low sugar, high protein, and white blood cells. His immune system is fighting a war inside his brain. They take the biopsy from his stomach ulcers and apply a special stain under the microscopic sewing among the white blood cells, and they see them. Tiny spiral-shaped bacteria. Suddenly, the pieces fall into place. The bacteria is Treponema pallidum. The disease is syphilis. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease. Typically, it starts as a painless sore, and then the bacteria hides out into the bloodstream. It can lie dormant for months or years, slowly destroying the body from the inside out. It caused his hair loss, it caused the weird spots on his skin. Finding syphilis inside stomach ulcers is a medical unicorn. It is incredibly rare, but it explained his agonizing stomach pain, and worst of all, the bacteria had crossed into his nerve system. HW has neurosyphilis. The bacteria was eating his brain. Remember how HW's nightmare started? He and his new buddy Mike had been dating the exact same woman for 2 years, Katie. Katie wasn't just breaking hearts, she was sharing treponema. If HW has a bacterial infection, antibiotics are the answer. Luckily, high-dose intravenous penicillin is highly effective. By the 6th day of treatment, HW's eyes finally focused, his reflexes returned, he started eating again, and his mind cleared. By day 14, he was walking on his own, ready to be discharged. HW was incredibly lucky. The hypernatremia he gave himself in a drunken stupor was caught in time. More importantly, his bizarre choice to drink horse salt put him in the ER, forcing doctors to accidentally discover the syphilis that was quietly dissolving his brain. And by the way, HW wasn't entirely wrong about the salt and alcohol idea. Alcohol inhibits your antidiuretic hormone, forcing you to pee all of your water, which shrinks your brain slightly and gives you a hangover. Eating salty bar snacks does help you hold on to water and blunt the hangover if you drink actual water with it, but just leave the horse salt for the horses. Syphilis cases have been skyrocketing in the United States since 2016 to the point where we are seeing nationwide shortages of the antibiotics used to treat it. And as HW's recovered, his doctors had one final piece of medical advice for him. He needed to call his prior sexual partners, which meant his new best friend Mike suddenly had an urgent doctor's appointment to make. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.